Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself. I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome on in. Thanks for being with us on the program. It is JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Let me see here. We're trying to figure out. JJ, your headset okay? Everything?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now,
Okay.
Yes.
I can't hear you in my ear, but I can hear you right here, so we're good.
All right.
We're ready to rock and roll.
That's an interesting
We'll
wrinkle.
fix it. We'll figure it out.
See, here's
But the good news is we can hear both of us on the radio right now. So.
Yeah, well, we're both there. We're both on the airwaves, so that's all that matters. First of all, first order of business, we're at the warehouse. Secondly, Frank Vogel, you're fired. You're gone. You're gone. Well, listen, we got a little bit of an indicator from Matt Ishbia. He already told us this is what was going to happen. He said he'd swap any roster in the league, JJ, with any other GMs. He didn't say he'd love his head coach, as is played out. How does a guy like Frank Vogel go 49-33? Or what is that? Yeah, no, sorry. He won 49 games, whatever the other part to get to 82 was. I was told there would be no math. But he won almost 50 games.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's embarrassing to get swept in the first round of the playoffs. But I don't know.
So
is he a bad coach, or is this a bad organization?
he has been fired multiple times by multiple teams now, right? Like multiple. I think this is 4 head coaching jobs. He's Magic, Pacers, Lakers, and now Suns.
Lakers is a throwaway. That doesn't count.
Everybody gets fired.
And because you're going to get fired. You're going to get fired at the Lakers.
So I have 2 things. If we'll get into it right now, let's get into it right now.
Well, hold on. We've got this more important thing about the mascots here in the state of Utah. So if we do that first.
That is much more urgent.
It is much more urgent. So
okay, I'll save it for 3:30.
All right, 3:30 we'll do it.
I'll tell you 2 things that are going on with that situation with Frank Vogel
there you
and the
go.
Phoenix Suns.
The art of the tease. All right. Well, let's kick it off then. Our show is brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar perfect for anybody who needs a quick, tasty, nutritious boost. And also, we're going to get kicked off here with the cut. JJ and I both, we don't really have a scheduled family night in my house unless it revolves around sports. And so we had a very important meeting where I called the entire family around the table, and we all had to vote. The Curie kids at least decided the fate of the votes that went to the survey that was sent out by Ryan Smith and the Smith Entertainment Group and Qualtrics. So let's kick off the hour with the cut, and we'll get into it right now. We'll tell you how our kids voted.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right. This portion of the program, The Cut, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, TRAJAN Wealth.com. That's TrajanWealth.com. And, of course, that music means we're talking hockey. So, unbeknownst to one another, but I thought it was a good activity last night. I sat down, I go, you guys, the names came out. Because, of course, we got the bracket, I don't know, 45 minutes after you and I got off the air.
Yeah, we were waiting all day. And it did hit. They did keep their promise.
They did.
It was a little late.
We thought they were going to excuse me. We thought they were going to punt it to today, but here we are. Last night we got it, and it was just in time for us to be kind of finishing up dinner. And I said, "Okay, hold on, everybody, stay at the table here. We are going to throw the Curie family votes down." Now you had the 20 names that were on the list, and then you had the 4 votes that you were able to cast, and the names that I did not remember seeing at any point at all. So there's different levels to this. There's ones that I've had people mention before to me, and I didn't think they'd be on the list. There were the names that we thought for sure would be on the list, and they're there. And then there are names that I'd never even heard before, and I wondered if this was like doing a favor for a friend. You know, Ryan Smith going, yeah, I like that idea. I'll put it on. You know what? I'm going to put it on the list. Or if it's part of the survey science. You throw some names out there that don't mean anything, and you just see what happens. And you go through, and you go 4 names, because this first round, and you have until the 22nd, I think. Isn't that what the thing said? You have till the 22nd of May to throw in a vote. You can only vote once, or at least once per phone, per email address.
Right.
All right?
I'm sure somebody will jimmer that.
What do you mean somebody?
It's already been done.
That's
I
me.
voted
I'm
like 4
doing it
times.
right now. I'm on like 9 different emails. All right, so here are the ones that I'd never heard of before. The Blast, never heard of it. The Utah Powder, never heard of it. The Utah Black Diamonds, I'd never heard it, but you know what? That's one that I'd never heard that I didn't hate. Okay? The other ones I hated. Swarm, I hadn't heard, but I also feel like we've heard it a million times. Does that make sense?
The B thing is,
it's been done.
predictable.
Yes, it's been done. Squall, I don't remember seeing. Hive, also don't remember actually seeing it on a list anywhere because I didn't take it seriously. The Utah Glaciers, the Utah Canyons, those were the other ones that I had never seen even mentioned once anywhere. And I don't like any of them, like I said, except for I gave a little bit of a second glance to Black Diamonds, obviously because of the mountain situation. Black Diamond sounds kind of cool, but it's also an inanimate object. I'm not sure how much I love that. Now we do have a basketball team here that is really just a concept. It's almost a feeling. What's your mascot? Well, it's just a vibe.
It's music.
It's a vibe, bro.
It's music, man.
What is it? Well, it's just out there. So out of those new ones that you heard, were any of the brand new ones, one, did they cross your radar? Two, did they pique your interest at all?
No. I went through this, and like you, my own little focus group at home in the living room, showed them some of the jersey mock-ups of some of the names. And Yeti is a big hit. Outlaws is a big hit.
I thought it was cool you put that
Mammoth as well.
Oh, Mammoth was on there. No, we wondered about Mammoth. I thought it was cool you put together that PowerPoint for the kids.
Yeah, it was
JJ's all
very detailed.
Lights, if you please.
I've done a lot of research, everybody. Gather around.
So,
Yeti is still there, man, and I think Yeti's got a lot of strength, and some people either love that or hate it. Like, there's no middle ground with Yeti. You either people like, I'm all in on Yeti, I love Yeti, or they like, that's the stupidest thing. Utah Yeti does roll off the tongue really well. Utah Yeti sounds great, but the Mammoth is growing on me. That's fun, and there was Mammoth here a long time ago. It actually ties into the state. Yes, there were.
We had a lot of other.
There was one dug up outside Fairview just recently, like in the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, and you know what? Here's the thing too. They're not from 20 million years ago. They're from 10 or 20,000 years ago.
Post Ice Age?
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
I love how we're like, absolutely.
I have no idea. I'm trying to justify Mammoth in the state of Utah.
I visited the Bean Museum once when I was going to BYU. Of course I know something about it.
See, Colorado, everybody in Denver is going to hate all these names because some of them are actually borrowing names from Denver sports teams, like lesser-known sports like lacrosse. I think there's been Denver Outlaws and Colorado Mammoth.
Ooh, really?
Lacrosse teams. Yeah. So
I love how Jeremy goes, about 10,000 years ago. Back to you.
But, hey, let's take them now. No, if I'm going through this list, you want me to pick my 4 right now live on air?
Well, tell me what your kids picked first.
Yeti, Mammoth, Outlaws, and I think that was it. That was the ones that really hit. I don't think Venom hit. Nothing else really hit.
So we had 4, and my kids thought about Mammoth, but I don't know. For some reason, it didn't hit real hard. Yeti was by far number 1. They all loved that one the most. Then it was the Outlaws. Then it was Blizzard, and then it was the Mountaineers. They actually liked the Mountaineers, and I thought, well. You remember we had that West Virginia fan come up to us at the outside.
He said that's our name.
He but he also goes, but I don't hate it because I've always been cheering on the Mountaineers,
right.
So we're
It'd be
cool.
Easy for him.
Yeah, you get a guy dressed up like Trapper John or whatever it is, and there you go.
Blizzard's the only weather one I would actually be okay with.
Not ice.
They play on ice. Utah ice. That's like calling a football team the Utah
turf?
football. That doesn't make any sense. The
What are you
Utah
talking
grass.
about?
Like, we're playing on grass?
Okay.
Like, that's your mascot? That doesn't make any sense.
Black Ice has claimed quite a few fenders in this
Black Ice.
in this
Black
market.
Ice is definitely common.
Right? Black Ice. If you talk about something that does damage, boom, got yourself You got yourself a weather situation there.
Off air, you and I talked about the mining history here, and I'm going to assume Utah Blast ties into that.
I don't know. Utah Blast sounds like it sounds like if we had a WNBA team here.
It just sounds like a social gathering in the state. We all had a blast.
It was a blast out there.
That game was a blast.
All right. The ones that should absolutely never see the light of day, Blast is on that list. Utah Powder, I know what you're trying to do here, but that is not good. All right? So please don't ever bring those up. Any bee, anything. If it's not
it's been done.
We've done the bees.
Bees,
right?
stingers.
And by the way, if a Major League Baseball team comes here,
just give them the bees.
That's reserved for them.
Yeah,
all right, if we're going to do a bee thing.
Agree.
Glaciers and canyons is just, at that point, we're just looking around and pointing at stuff.
That was a masterpiece of dog shit.
That's
Mountaineers and canyons isn't any different.
You know what that
right?
was? That's like Ryan Smith's cousin who's at the table, and they go, "What about you, Mike?" And then he looked up and goes, And he looked out the window and goes, "The canyons?" And they're like, "Okay, that's good." And then their grandma's like, "Hey, listen, come on. Will you give Mike this? He came up with the canyons on his own." All right? That's what it feels like a favor to somebody. So I don't like any of those. But I do – listen, Pioneers didn't make the list. Are you surprised by that?
No Pioneers, no Scorpions. I am surprised by the Pioneers one. I thought that would make the list, but it's not on here. Not available.
See, that's what's crazy is now they didn't trademark Pioneers. So – and by the way, the other ones weren't trademarked because no one's going to think of those, right?
Right.
No one wants those. So I think Yeti and Outlaws, Blizzard, Mammoth has been making a massive comeback, pardon the pun. But I think that's one that has gained a ton of traction in the last day. So I'm all for it. The reality is that whatever ends up being the brand of what it is, I think that what's really important is that the mock-ups on the jerseys end up being good. The color scheme has to be good. And I know that purple-ish and light blue-ish have been thrown out there as possible,
I like
color
both.
schemes that could be in there. And you mentioned something interesting on how to do it. What was your plan on how to do some of the color schemes?
I think you do that. You do a dark one with the blue.
So like a dark blue with the light blue.
With the light blue, and then you do the white with the light blue and the
That's
and
primary.
the dark blue.
That's primary.
And then you have an alternate purple to
Okay.
tie in with the Utah Jazz as well.
I love it.
Yep.
I love it.
And there's a really cool Yeti logo that someone produced out there.
Is that the one with the Yeti flipping the people off?
That's
a
not
good
the one, but that is even better.
That one is. I
don't think that's going to make it.
I saw
through the
one.
focus
I
group.
saw one that was mocked up on a jersey, and it was just a Yeti, and he looked really casual, and he had sunglasses on, and he was just flipping off. It was just giving the bird somebody.
You
And
say
I went,
Yeti out in the woods going to the bathroom or something.
I do. I wish that
Let's
we
not
had
do that either.
I wish that we had that. Have him on a toilet. Just have him out there on a latrine.
There are no toilets in the wilderness, man.
So
to make your own.
in the end, caribou doesn't make a lot of sense.
There's
to me.
no caribou in this state.
Are there not?
No.
Hey, Jeremy, look up native species. See if caribou's on the
Unless
list.
someone went up to
I
the
did a little
Yukon, picked
Googling.
them up and brought them back.
You know what that is? That's a reindeer. That you can't pick a reindeer.
There's so many great animals in this state. Like, you're going to pick an animal that doesn't live here?
Look, they have those.
Moose, elk, deer,
There's a lot of Christmas
mountain
movies.
goats,
There's a lot of
bighorn sheep.
You know when they do the alternate holiday stuff where it's like Jack Frost and he's murdering people and like Santa.
Like that Santa Claus movie with
Yes.
the guy from Stranger Things when he.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they have like murderous Santa
Yeah.
and they'll have like
That was fun.
that was a fun time. That was a blast. Actually, I had a
Jingle all
blast
the
at that one. I think it might be called that. There are a million of these, and you'd have to have this mean-looking reindeer, and you don't want to go that direction. You can't have a Christmas symbol that we've tried to
It's
turn
just
mean.
dumb.
What would you say about the caribou, Jeremy? What's the update on the caribou?
Not really. Alaska, Idaho, not really native to the state.
Close.
Do you
Why
want
did
something
the
close
trout
for the
not
mascot?
get any kind of look?
Yeah, there's no trout.
No trout.
No mackinaw, no fish.
Okay. And we're okay with
Surprised
this.
by that. There was a
We're
lot
okay
of
with this.
trout. Like I said, trout, scorpions, and pioneers didn't make the cut.
All right.
Another one was Olympians that people had the idea.
What?
That didn't make it.
The
Mount
Oli-
Olympus,
the
the
Ol-
Olympics.
Oh.
You didn't hear that? You missed a lot of. We went through a lot of this stuff.
By the way, I'm glad I missed that. That's
you
stupid.
skipped through that part of the process.
So what do you have? Just like Carl Lewis, like in his long jump? Like, what do you have? What do we have here for Olympians? What are we supposed to be showing as
Some
Olympians?
Greek mythology figure.
Okay, so you have, which one is it? It goes both ways. It's supposed to be like Mount Olympus, but it's also supposed to be like we've hosted the Olympics here.
Yeah.
Got Mary Lou Retton on the front of your sweater.
That was what it was going for.
All right.
Obviously didn't make the cut.
Well, there you go. So first round, and it's going to close, and we're going to be down to 4. I'm assuming maybe they say pick 4, and then the top 8.
It's like a bracket.
Right, and then the top 8 from those,
They'll do a Final Four, and then we'll get a vote on the Final Four.
Well, yeah, I'm glad that I think that a lot of people – I haven't met a lot of people who've gone outside of – at the very least, Yeti is on every list that I've had from people.
Yeah. Outlaws is really catching on as well, and I think a lot of people like the Mammoth. Outside of that, I'm not sure there's anything on that list that's got everybody buzzing. I don't think anybody likes Venom, even though it would be unique. There's no other Venom in pro sports.
No.
Blizzard is too – I mean, I was on Blizzard initially, and now I'm kind of like, I don't know. But Outlaws, Yeti, and Mammoth seem to really have the momentum that it's going to take to get to this final round.
We had this on while we were actually watching hockey last night, too. I was like, look, we got playoff hockey up on the screen. And you guys have to realize that this is going to be a thing. And I also was trying to gauge interest on the hockey front. And I said, would you guys want to ever start to try to play hockey? And they were like, maybe. Maybe. But the reality is that how does joining – like I have kids playing lacrosse right now. 5 years ago, I would have had 0 kids playing lacrosse. But what happens? Their friends are playing lacrosse, so they play too.
UHSAA sanctions the sport.
Right.
We have the PLL that's here. And so all of a sudden, you become a lacrosse hotbed. Now, and Utah lacrosse, obviously. The University of Utah getting a sanctioned NCAA sport.
Right. I wonder if it's going to take hold, and it needs to. There's no other choice because part of agreeing to have a team come here, the NHL goes, are you guys going to make your junior hockey programs grow? And what are you going to do to do it? So that's why you have with the practice facility, they go, we're going to have this be kind of a hockey mecca right here because we are instructed to grow the sport in the city that we're in. They're instructed to get in there and to build the youth programs. There will be high school hockey that's sanctioned by the USHAA in the next 15 years.
No
Just
question.
because of how crazy this sport is going to get. Mark my words, it gets popular quick, too. People are going to start busting out the hockey gear, and it's going to happen. By the way, did you see that we're we allowed to talk about this? We're going to be on the ice at some point.
Yes.
You and me?
Yeah, that's going to be ugly. I'm just hoping to get off the ice without any severe injuries.
Dude, I'm telling you, are they going to have us sign a waiver? I don't know. I don't want to sign a waiver. Can I get workman's comp if I get injured during a work activity?
No waivers
up on the ice?
for me. I'm going to roll the dice.
Okay.
I'm going to take my chances.
Yeah. No, I'm into it. So
even us, we're getting on the ice. It's just hockey fever, man.
Can we buy those padded shorts? You and me, we get some padded shorts. We get them branded, JJ and Alex on them.
There
Come on.
go. I like it.
I'm all about it. Well, as we go into the next round, I don't know what the next round is going to look like, but I would hope that I think Yeti's going to be into it. Whatever it is, the Utah Yeti are going to make it. That's going to be part of it.
Yep.
I've seen a lot of energy around Outlaws. Blizzard or Ice, some version of that. Those have popped up too.
And the Blizzard with the Yeti, you could
easily do that
combination.
And that way you kind of sneak in both, right?
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, the Mammoth, because you could actually say the Mammoth and then have it be a Yeti also. You could do all sorts of things because you could have the Mammoth be the mascot, and then you have the Yeti guy who runs around and have it just be the guy. Look, this Jazz have a bear. What the heck?
He's a Mammoth Yeti? Where are we going with
that?
No.
I'm saying because what are they going to do? Put a guy in a mammoth outfit? And he's going to have tusks going out to the side of his mouth? You don't have to make that
Why
guy.
Why not?
No, just make it be the Yeti still. Whatever the mascot is or whatever they pick the name to be, make the Yeti still the guy who runs around to become our iconic guy.
There we go.
We've got the Jazz Bear. It has nothing to do with Jazz. I've never seen him carry a saxophone even.
That's true.
So, all right. We'll come back. More to go around the corner right here, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. Presented by G2G Bars. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Oh, it's extremely fixable. I mean, let's just be real. Although this isn't a cool narrative, and the national media really won't want to play it out there, but like, ask the other 29 GMs. 26 of them would trade their whole team for our whole team and our draft picks and everything as is. Like, the house is not on fire. We're in great position. It's not hard to fix. It's not like we're like, hey, we don't have enough talent to win a championship. We have enough talent to win a championship. Like, do we have enough continuity? Do we have time together? Like, there's a lot of things we can look at. Do we have like the right leadership in place? Do we have to add some little pieces around that? It's not like we don't have people that can score the ball, not that play defense and have one champ. Like, we have all the things. And so, how fixable is it? And I mean, if I read the media, I would think we have a lot of problems. But luckily, I get to spend time with, the best players in the world, in my opinion, the best coaches, GMs, see, like, all these people, and I get to spend time with our people and say, we're in really great shape, and I wouldn't trade our team or our situation for anyone else's, except for I'd like to be playing right now. But besides that, for like how going into the offseason, I feel great about it. It's not like there's a lot of other teams that have good players that have to re-sign them or they're going to lose them or that they're unrestricted free agents. Like, our starting five's coming back. I feel very good about it.
Welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. That's owner of the Phoenix Suns, Matt Ishbia. You know how I know that? Because nobody in the entire sports world talks like that except for Matt Ishbia. By the way, when I would get home at night, like let's say I was late on curfew, I turned into Matt Ishbia with my dad. I'd be like, well, see, what happened was, okay, so listen to what I'm saying. Because I'm going down the street, and there's, like, Mike, and he's like, hey, man, can you drive? And I'm like, I got to help these guys out. And, I don't drink, Dad, but some of my friends do. I got to get in the car. And my dad's like, you just over-explained it so much that I know that you're lying to me. He could always tell. You know what Matt Ishbia was doing? Talking as fast as he could to cover up the fact that he was not down with whatever was going to be going on long-term with this Phoenix Suns team. I like my team. I like the players. I like the coaches. Now, they lost Kevin Young, of course, and now they've lost Frank Vogel because they fired him. So, what's going on down in Phoenix? What are we supposed to believe?
So here's two things. Number one, why did Frank Vogel get fired? Number one, well, they underachieved. That team has 3 future Hall of Famers on it, and they couldn't even get to 50 wins, and they couldn't get out of the first round. As a head coach, that's unacceptable. And, yes, they had an impossible task in the first round playing against the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are generationally good at defense. But they got swept, and it wasn't even close. So that's the number one reason why he got fired, is they underperformed. Number two is someone had to go. It's not going to be the owner, Matt Ishbia. Is it the GM? No, because guess who made all these decisions? Not the GM. Matt Ishbia told him to do James Jones do the Bradley Beal deal. It was a bad deal. Bradley Beal missed a third, almost a half of the season, and they gave up most of their bench to get him. So they made personnel issues that did not make them a better team, which if you're a GM, that's your job. He didn't let his GM do his job as he had been doing previously, which was James Jones has been an executive of the year. He's done a really good job. Ishbia comes in, and this is a guy who played college basketball and has $1 billion. He thinks he knows how to do this. He doesn't, and he meddled way too much. Okay, so now he's got a situation. Okay, we terribly underachieved. I can't fire myself. I can't fire my GM because I told him to do these things. I can't get rid of these contracts. No one wants Kevin Durant for $50 million. So nobody wants Bradley Beal with a no-trade clause.
Right.
And Bradley Beal's not going to agree to anything. I can't trade Devin Booker. He's the only young guy here that is worth keeping, and it is worth the salary he has right now. So I can't do anything about the personnel. So what's the one thing that Matt Ishbia could do here to send a message to the fans and everybody else that they were going to change and they were going to do something to fix this? Fire the coach. The coach was the scapegoat. Frank Vogel was the scapegoat here. Did he deserve it? Probably. I mean, this is the 4th job he's been fired from. That's what happened here.
All right. Well, when you look at it, though, was it the right decision? So that's the other question, because you go, Matt Ishbia fired him, but Matt Ishbia is not making great decisions right now so far. So is this just a fake quick fix cover-up, which is sometimes,
100%.
The scapegoat situation? Because Frank Vogel, he's been fired from other teams. Like I said, he got fired from the Lakers with an impossible situation.
He won a championship with the Lakers in the bubble.
Right.
And still got fired.
So in my mind, the scapegoat situation means you're actually just covering up for a bigger problem.
Right. But you can't fire the owner.
Right. And you can't fire Kevin Durant either.
You cannot. He's got a guaranteed
by the way,
contract.
This is what happens in the NBA now. In the NFL, what are the layers of moves? You fire your offensive coordinator. You fire your defensive coordinator.
Right.
You even fire your GM. The GMs in football, they're like, boom, gone. But the coaches, they'll sometimes sit on for a minute and they'll go, okay, let's there's no version of this. By the way, if you have a winning record but you've got a really good quarterback at the helm and you get out of the playoffs early, like that's almost never going to equate to a firing. You have teams that underperform all the time, but the head coach is almost always like there's a couple of layers of protection. And the NBA is in a wild spot where the best two players on the roster have the last say if a guy should stay on as the head coach. And it's okay because you know what? It's a 15-person roster in the NBA, but it really is 4 guys who on those rosters who matter.
Right.
In terms of their opinions of anything beyond just the basketball on the court.
The players that are going to swing how good or bad you are, you're probably talking about who are those 2 or 3, who are your 2 or 3 best players compared to who are the other 2 or 3 best players on the rest of the rosters around the league.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Another thing, just to give you perspective here, imagine the Utah Jazz, after this season, fired Will Hardy because he had a losing record. Would that make any logical sense? When Ryan Smith was the one who decided they needed to tear this down,
right?
And Danny Ainge is the one that decided that they needed to ship out some starters and rotation pieces at the deadline, and then you go ahead and fire Will Hardy. That's not the problem, right? That's what the Suns essentially did.
That's where you're lucky
was
to
Frank
be.
Vogel the problem? You
No,
can't
no.
say that. Am I surprised that he got fired? No, he's been fired before. But Frank Vogel was not the problem.
Does he suck as a head coach?
No, he doesn't suck. But in all fairness, you have Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. You need to win a lot more than you did. And that's what they were looking for.
Okay, who are the best coaches in the league right now?
Best coaches in the league. Wow, Michael Malone.
Mike Malone.
Start with the Nuggets.
Okay, I think Chris Finch is almost
Chris
right
Finch,
there.
Absolutely.
Okay. Out of the East, I mean, do you
I think that obviously Greg Popovich is still in the league. I mean,
yeah.
How about Steve Kerr? Rick Carlisle?
Rick Carlisle?
Eric Spoelstra is probably at the top of my list. Who does more with less than Eric Spoelstra?
Spoelstra is one of the few cats who survived LeBron James.
Right. Tell me what Tom Thibodeau's doing with the Knicks.
Tibbs is pretty
they're
good.
They're missing Julius Randle, and they're still going to make the Eastern Conference Finals.
And I don't like the Knicks overall, but it's not because of Tibbs. He's like a hard-nosed. He's like still that old school scary head coach.
Yeah. I love Tyronn Lue. I think Tyronn Lue's a very good coach.
Tyronn Lue's a good coach. I'm trying to think. And you're naming guys off who've been fired, by the way, from their gigs.
Certainly. It happens.
Fired from their gigs for maybe just being that scapegoat. And in my mind, Frank Vogel's nowhere near the bottom. Well, who's the bottom of the league? Well, in my mind, it's guys like, speaking of underperforming, guess who should have been fired yesterday? Guess who should have been fired a week ago? Doc Rivers. He has no business coaching the freaking Milwaukee Bucks anymore.
Agree.
But that doesn't fit whatever they got going on in that front office. He passed go. He collected the $200, and until he gets back around the board again, you're not going to see anything change. And he gets that automatic, you're a legend here in Milwaukee. By the way, why would you take that job in Milwaukee when you're going to be at risk of losing that legendary status? Because you will be. if you can't win another championship with Giannis on the books still during his time while you've got him, then you're going to lose that status because guess who's a bigger legend than you are? Giannis. Has to be. So, I don't know. I get so annoyed when teams just fire a guy because Frank Vogel's is like, and again, we were trying to figure out who was going to get hired next. Fill in the blank. Some Boston Celtics assistant or
the Lakers don't hire assistants. They got to go get the big name.
Well, no, but
Darvin Ham didn't work out for them.
The Suns are going to – guess who the Suns are going to freaking hire? The Suns are going to hire Darvin Ham, dude. They're going to – whatever. Is Mike Brown around still?
He's
still
the
at the Kings.
Yeah.
And guess what he's doing? A hell of a job coaching.
You know what's funny is how different things could be because the Suns hired Frank Vogel last year. They should have –
one season.
They should have hired Kevin Young. And think about how much different our world would be right now if they did. Because Kevin Young would probably still be with the Suns, and BYU would not have an outstanding head coach in their fold.
If they would have sat in a meeting, because they had the chance to sit down, I guarantee it. They had a chance to sit down with his agent. They probably had in mind that if this wasn't going to go this way, that he was going to be the guy. But BYU made a smart decision and hired him during the playoffs while they were still in it. Because otherwise,
who would be a top candidate for the Phoenix job right now?
He would have had the job right now. Am I wrong?
He would be their target. I don't have any doubt about that.
Because the entire locker room loved the dude.
It would have been an easy transition.
All right.
And I think that would have been supported by the players. And, yes, Kevin Young would probably be the next head coach of the Phoenix Suns.
Matt Ishbia, I'm not saying he took meth before that press conference, but.
And why didn't he? Again, who made the decision to hire Frank Vogel?
I know.
Was it James Jones? No.
So why?
We know who did it.
But why would you pull the trigger that quickly?
Somebody had to
patience.
pay.
Come on, practice some patience. All right.
Bad ownership.
Let's take a break. We'll come back. We've got more to go around the corner. We've got a Would You Rather. We've got some Would You Rathers. I've got an NBA-based Would You Rather. Okay, has to do with the NBA playoffs, and we'll take the break here. We've got more to go. We're at the warehouse, 1825 South, 300 West, right here in Salt Lake City. We're hanging out all day with Tom Curl and his team. It's a Mother's Day weekend, which means the mother of all sales. There you go. Boom. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got more to go around the corner. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Real-life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Happy afternoon to you. Thanks for being with us on the program. If you miss any portion of our show or any of the shows across the entirety of the KSL Sports Zone all day long, you can download the podcast wherever podcasts are found. Where are podcasts found? Anybody know? JJ?
Hopefully at KSLSports.com, because we keep telling people that's where they're at.
Yeah, but you know.
I do know.
to
Sometimes things you think are there are not there.
Well, but Apple Podcasts, they're there. Whatever it is that people do on Androids, it's there too. Right? So there you go. Any place that they have podcasts, you can find our podcast across the station. By the way, you can nominate your sports volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week award. Submit your nominations at KSLSports.com/contests and listen every Thursday afternoon. Hey, that's today. JJ, we're going to read a winner next hour.
All right, let's do it.
Like we do every week. And we can celebrate the efforts of those sports volunteers in your neighborhood, making an impact with the Hercules Hero of the Week award, sponsored by Hercules Credit Union. You get a Visa gift card from them, and Beehive Meals. You get a $200 gift card from them as well to use at Beehive Meals, which if you've never had before, JJ and I sing the praises of those.
My
all
wife
the time.
just cooked some up yesterday
That's
in a
what I'm
crock pot.
You throw them in the crock pot, man. So my wife and I do this kind of ships in the night thing sometimes with work. She'll be at her office. I'll be going to my work, and I'll throw something in the crock pot. Boom. Saves the dang day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not even an endorsement. That's just what you and I do, man. Let me see here. That should be an endorsement, my heavens. Let me see here. What do we got?
I got a would you rather.
You got a would you rather?
Let's go.
Throw me one out here for me.
Would you take the Suns roster or anyone else that has been eliminated from the playoffs? meaning you can't pick one of the teams still alive, meaning the teams that are currently better than the Suns, would you take the Suns roster or someone else's?
Okay, start over.
This is tied to Matt Ishbia.
Okay,
he said, I know 26 out of 29 teams.
Right. They want
my roster.
Right.
Okay. Would you take his roster or someone else, like the Utah Jazz or the San Antonio Spurs?
Yeah, that's tough.
Or the Golden State Warriors or the Lakers? Any team that's not currently in the playoffs right now that has been eliminated or did not make the playoffs. Would you take the Suns roster over any other roster in the league? I'd rather the Magic roster than the Suns roster. I'd rather the Jazz roster than the Suns roster.
See, that's where we part ways. How
do you make the Suns roster better?
I'm just saying that you asked for a superstar, man. That's what we've been begging for in this market.
They've got 3, and they couldn't get out of the first round.
Well, look, they fired Frank Vogel. That was the problem. They got Will Hardy here.
Next year, championship.
Figure it out. All right? Ooh, I'm trying to think. Who's got it worse than the Suns? I do think that there are a lot of people who would say, are you kidding? You're talking about
maybe the Warriors have it worse than the Suns because they have a roster full of Hall of Famers.
The Timberwolves are going to be competitive in the next couple of years, but their cap situation is not pretty.
And the ownership change could have an impact on
that. Could also be a problem.
How much money they pay.
Yeah. I wouldn't take the Pistons roster.
No.
All right.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's a good question. No, I think I'd pass. I think I'd pass on the Suns roster.
Can you think of more than 3 teams?
No. Not
whose
I couldn't
roster
think of
you would take.
I couldn't think of 26. I'll tell you that.
Right.
Absolutely not. Let me see here. Okay, would you rather – how about this? Would you rather be bowl eligible as a BYU fan next year? Let me step it up a notch. You win 8 games in football and you don't make the NCAA tournament in basketball, or another losing season for BYU football, but the basketball team goes to the NCAA tournament again.
Just the tournament?
Mm-hmm.
No, they want the football wins.
8
I know
football
BYU
wins.
fan. BYU fan wants the 8 football wins in the Big 12.
But if this roster doesn't make the NCAA tournament next year, will it be a massive
of course, yeah.
step backward?
Yeah, of course it would.
All right.
With the talent they have coming back and the possible additions that may be coming, it would be a massive disappointment. I think if you say, would BYU fan take the 8 football wins or a Sweet 16 trip for their basketball team? Now you've got a discussion. Now BYU fan is really thinking hard about that one.
All right, I've got one. 9 wins for the football team or a Sweet 16 trip.
9 wins start getting you into the
top 25 discussion.
Big 12 contender situation.
You're kind of just short of that.
9 wins? Yeah, I guess.
All right.
You'd probably assuming you go 3-0 in non-conference, which would mean
6 wins in conference play.
And then, yeah, they're
that'd be 6 and
their non-conference is sneaky hard. SMU on the road is not going to be an easy game.
No. Yep.
Yeah, I think that
I'd take the 9 wins in football.
BYU fan would probably take the 9 wins. I think football is still king.
Yeah,
of
but
the
the Sweet 16, man, in the Big 12.
It's been a while.
Ooh.
I mean, since Jimmer, right? So,
right.
And that was 13 years ago.
Wild.
Almost
all right.
14.